Base Nation, what is good? I mean, what is really hood? What's really hood? Today we're going to talk a little bit about dual mating strategy, hypergamy, the effects of hormonal birth control, the alpha and beta concept. We're going to revisit that a little bit again today. All right. And then what does that mean for you? Well, you're going to have to tune in. Okay. So strap in. We got a pretty good stream today. But why should you listen to me? Well, look, I'm just a regular Joe Schmo, okay? I'm an author. I write books. I create content. I coach. I help people, all right? I've been doing this for 6.5, 7 years now. I've been studying human behavior just as long, okay? Human psychology, evolutionary biology for the last 6.5 years, okay? I've lived and breathed this stuff. Why? Because not only is it super interesting to me, not only does it pump me up like to learn about it, but it's fascinating, man. Like when you learn about this stuff and you apply it in your daily life and you see it kind of play out, you cannot deny the truth behind a lot of this stuff. That's why I laugh when people ask me like, like where's your expertise? Like, where did you go to school? Like they don't teach this stuff in school. And if they did, I probably already studied the textbooks already. Okay. Probably read the books from all the famous professors in the field. Okay. I feel like I have my doctorate in this field. All right. I actually finished the book, y'all. I mean, that's not really news. I finished the book a long time ago, but what I mean by I finished the book is it is now ready for pre-order. All right. So I'm actually gonna be ordering some hard copies here. Just so that I can hand them out to my friends. It's something that I'm very proud of. And y'all can jump aboard. So what I'm going to be doing for the very first month right now, I guess, so to say, before we even launch the book. So for pre-launch, I'm going to be looking for 10 to 15 guys. And we're going to jump into a group together. And we're going to read the book together. Not like read it, but like we're going to go through the book together. Okay. So each week we might like tackle a chapter, and then in that chapter we'll discuss. Okay, so if that's something of value to you and you seem pretty interested in wanting to jump aboard, what you're going to get is a free copy of my book, okay, and a community with other men, about 10 to 15 guys, and we're going to go through this together, okay? We're going to learn it together. Not only that, we're going to hold each other accountable to our goals, okay? Because like when we can't just study theory and do nothing. We have to take the theory and then apply it. So the point of the group is to get around like-minded individuals who are trying to get better. Because like, let's be real, not a lot of guys out there are trying to do something different in their life. A lot of these guys are just sitting around doing the same thing over and over again, like creatures of habit, and they're not pushing the envelope, and they're not doing the things that they know in the back of their mind that they need to do. But sometimes it's like, you know what I mean? I get it. And this group is definitely going to be the game changer for y'all. So if y'all are interested, hit me up. You can find my Instagram at Robb Based. Damn, one of my Instagram reels went off the other day. I was just getting notifications and I had to turn it off. I remember I had to wake up in the middle of the morning and turn off the notifications because it went off. But yeah, go follow me on Instagram, okay? And then you can DM me there. I'll send you a copy of the book. All right, it's already done. Here, maybe I can show you guys before we get into the stream, because actually, hold on, let me see. Do I have it up? Do I have it up? Okay. I do. So just before we start the stream, I'm going to show you guys the book, okay? There it is. I just had it formatted. It's ready for paperback and print, okay? So it's called Break Our Bed, Not Our Heart, Average Man's Guide to Modern Dating. Okay, so if that's you, a man 18 to 35, it doesn't matter if you're single or married or divorced, it doesn't really matter. If you're a guy, you should probably read this book, okay? This is something that I wish I had. in my 20s, to be honest. Okay, this would have helped me out big time, big time, big time. All right, so everything's formatted, intro. All right, we got our table of contents. So we'll just take a look at the table of contents. Okay, so if this does interest you, all right, we're gonna do. We're pretty much gonna tackle like 1 or 2 chapters a week. Okay, it's not that much, honestly. Okay, it's really not that much. We can blow past this stuff, and and this is all the while I get the book recorded on audiobook, because I know not a lot of you guys are readers. I get it. Not everyone is a reader. I have to assume that not everyone is a reader. Okay, not like me. Because I love to read, man. I don't know about you guys, but anyway, let me see if I can get this bigger. So the first chapter is about modern day chivalry and why it's dead. Okay, women killing it. Uh, this second chapter we're talking a little bit about today. Okay, masculine and feminine energy. We break that down in detail. Inner outer game. Why your inner and outer game needs to match. Okay, mental hygiene. That's important. Female nature. Okay, the old books don't work anymore. Not even like 10 years ago. All that stuff is out the window. Okay, this is updated for 2024. Chapter 7 is putting it all together. How do we take all this information and run with it? And then chapter 8, when you get into a relationship, you have to understand what love is from her perspective and your perspective. Okay, when you get a grip, when you get a grasp of that, then you can really thrive in your relationships. Okay, break her bed, not her heart. It's about releasing your sexual energy. Okay, how to do it properly, how to get her to fully submit to you, all those things. And then text, game, and banter. Okay, so this is like for the more single guys. The last 2 chapters are more for like the single men. If you're like in a relationship, this is not really too important for you guys. But for the dudes who are single and are, struggling out there in the dating world or whatever, I got you. Okay, these last 2 chapters are for that. Okay, so that's pretty much the book. And if you guys want a free read of this, okay, all right, definitely hit me up on Instagram or hit me up on Facebook. Either way, just search up Robb Based and come find me. Okay, and we're gonna do this. I'm gonna offer this up for just the people on the stream and the inner circle, my inner circle people. Okay, so we're gonna try to get like 10 to 15 people. Once I have that like that number filled up, we're gonna cut it off, and then the rest you're just gonna have to buy the book afterwards if you really want to support. All right, so I stream every Tuesday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So if you guys want to put that in your calendar, just make a mental note of that. Just keep that aware, and then usually I'll have some marketing offers or whatever or what have you when it comes to things. Okay, so yeah, that's what it is. All right, now that's enough housekeeping for me today, and we're gonna just get into the stream. So we're gonna talk a little bit about how women view men when it comes to dating and relationships. Okay, and some of this stuff is probably not new to you guys, but maybe there's something in this stream that y'all aren't aware of that I might bring up to you. All right, so strap in, make sure that you guys are ready to learn, because like I said, these streams, okay, I'm just building a catalog right now. I'm sorry if it's boring and shit. I apologize, but again, this is the stuff that people paid me for, okay, in the last like 6 years when I did coach and stuff like that. And I was helping families, I was helping guys get through their divorce, I was helping, I was helping save marriages and shit. Like, it was insane. Okay. But I've been talking about this stuff for the last 6 years, and I just want to build the catalog so we can get it over and done with. Okay, so people can access it all in one spot or whatever, and then learn, and then we can all level up together, right? So, because I get it, not everybody wants to take a course, not everybody wants to apply everything that they learn. I get that, but I encourage it. Okay, so if that's you, definitely jump aboard, because it's only going to go up from here. Okay. One thing I failed to do last time when I did this thing around, like when I wrote my first book, the last thing I feel to do was ride that momentum. And so this time when I pull up the momentum, I'm not going to stop. Okay. Just making sure you guys are aware. So jump on the train now. I hate to say, I told you so, but jump on the train when it's free. Okay. And it's going to go up. I'm going to start charging for this stuff afterwards. All right. Because there's going to be a lot of value behind it. I think a lot of guys are going to get a lot of value from it, because this is how I started my journey, to be honest. So, and it worked for me. But anyhow, all right, I'm got all my notes out here pretty much. All right. So let's take a little bit of an introductory into what Evo psychology and Evo biology really is. Okay. So the term Evo, before anything, it just as an evolutionary, it stands for evolutionary, and it comes from basically Darwinism. Okay. So Darwinism is, we all know, natural selection. He's the guy who hypothesized the Big Bang, and he thinks that we all evolved from monkeys. Okay. So when you think about that line of thinking and you adapt it into, sorry, not adapt, you apply that into the fields of psychology or biology, okay, then you start looking at human behavior in general. Okay, we start to look at how we behaved centuries ago compared to now, what was going on during the time, right? Like, have we evolved since then? What are the things going on, even psychologically, in today's current culture that might affect the way that we do dating and relationships, right? So Evo Psych, Evo Biology is just a kind of like it's an introduction into the world of human behavior, okay, in a nutshell. I know I'm butchering this, but I'm trying to keep this for like as much as, like, my mentor tells me all the time, like, stop using big words and da 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 da. But I'm saying, like, my audience is smart enough to understand these big words. But if you want to hit the masses, then you need to speak to, a sixth grade level here. Okay. So I'm not trying to, undermine anybody's intelligence here. I just think that, anyways, you guys get what I'm trying to say. All right. So the point is, all right, it's an introduction into human behavior. And once you start seeing some of the, conclusions they're drawing in this field, you start applying it into your daily life, and you start seeing how women actually act around you. Then you start to see, like, wow, this isn't just the woman in front of me. This is like mostly pretty much every woman, despite cultures. And so sometimes you have to like decipher that too. Like, if she's, like Eastern culture versus Western culture or whatever, those kinds of things, have their little nuance here and there. But for the most part, a lot of human behavior is the same. Okay. So what is dual mating strategy? Well, dual mating strategy is a concept in evolutionary psychology. Okay. It's something that women, mostly women, it suggests that women have a strategy when it comes to reproducing. Okay. And when it comes to reproducing, they pursue two types of people. So you hear about this in the manosphere a lot, right? Alpha fucks, beta bucks. Okay. So alpha seed, beta need. That's another thing. Alpha seed just means that a woman will look for a man because of his genetic capabilities. For example, a guy who looks moderately good looking, he has very good facial features. He's got that, V taper, he's 6 foot, whatever, he's tall, dark and handsome, all that stuff, right? He's physically attractive. Basically a genetic, like a genetic fit, because a woman on her hindbrain level knows that if I produce ugly offspring or whatever, the chances of it reproducing or continuing on the legacy is going to be less of a chance if my offspring is less attractive or has genetic defects or whatever, or what have you. Okay. And this is why guys like younger women. Okay. This is all evolutionary, like in our minds. Okay. It's for biological purposes. Okay. But anyhow, a woman will take one man for short-term mating, so that's the alpha, and then she'll take another man for a longer-term investment, and that's usually the beta, right? And so you'll see, hold on, let me just pull something up here for a second, because I think this is really important to kind of go through before I talk about the next stuff here. So let me see if I can enlarge this. How do I just enlarge? There we go. And then I'm going to share my screen. So okay. So if you guys are wondering, I'm wearing a posture corrector because I slouch a lot. A lot of us do. A lot of us hunch over with our heads forward, and that's not a good place to be. So this posture corrector kind of just helps me stand up. All right, so I'm gonna add this to my screen. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully you guys can see that. But this is basically taken from Rollo's website, okay? If you guys don't know who Rollo is, then you're really slipping, all right? But Rollo, okay, he came up with this, and he talks about how a woman's curve, her SMV, okay, is different than a man's SMV. So obviously she hits her peak earlier in her 20s, all right? She exits her peak around the epiphany phase. And then men, we don't hit our stride until afterwards, okay? So what's the importance of me bringing this up? Well, when we talk about dual mating strategy, so a lot of guys ask me, okay, hold on. So now you guys see, sorry, I'm just having a little technical difficulty. This is why I need like a producer or something like that in the background to help me with this shit. All right. But anyway, you guys saw the SMV curve, okay? And you saw that a woman's peak is obviously before a man's peak, and she doesn't hit her peak until about like, in her early 20s, mid 20s, okay? And during that time, okay, her mating strategy is open for business, let's just say, okay? So when she hits college, all right, she's going to be getting with pretty much everybody. She has no, filter at that point. She's just attracted to guys who are alpha looking, and then she's attracted to the nerd who's just super smart and he probably has a future. He's going to go somewhere, right? So she's attracted to both guys, getting pulled in all different directions. She's probably sleeping with a bunch of them, right? And then she figures out afterwards that the guy that she's really, really attracted to and she wishes that, she could like get married to and have his kids. Well, he turns out to be, Chad, all right? And he's a player and he has a bunch of options and he's, doing what he does because the man is only faithful as his options, right? So he goes out and he starts dating other women and she gets mad and he cheats on her. And so what happens in that phase is when a woman hits her epiphany phase, she realizes, hey, there's two different types of guys out there. There's guys that are like super loyal, beta, like simpish, and they'll do anything that I can control them. If I tell them, come over, they're over. And then there's the other guy where it's like, I don't really have him under control. He does whatever the fuck he wants to do. And like whenever, I try to control him, he goes further away and this and that, right? So she's attracted to both and she doesn't understand why it drives her nuts, right? But she wishes that, this alpha and beta or whatever was the same guy. And rarely is that ever the case. So when she's in her epiphany phase, she realizes, okay, and she's probably gotten her heart broken a couple of times from these guys or whatever, okay? And this is what we call like kind of like the alpha widow or whatever. She starts to become a little bit more hardened, and then she shifts her mating strategy towards more beta males, right? And so when she hits her epiphany phase, she's attracted to now, guys who are a little bit more nurturing, more softer, more feminine, more effeminate, right? And those guys tend to do well with those women later on when they're like later on in life, right? When they're kind of exiting the sexual market value. So sexual marketplace. So like when you sometimes like you'll see out there, like you'll see this hot girl, okay? Maybe she's like 26, 27, super hot still, right? But she's with this loser guy, right? And you're wondering like, what the fuck just happened there, right? Like, why is she with this like he's not even good looking. He probably, and then the first thing that crosses your mind is like, he probably has a lot of money and that's why she's with him, right? So You have to understand that women have a dual mating strategy. Like they're both attracted to both guys. And that's why it's like funny to me. That's why it's like funny to a lot of people on looking on the outside, right? Like when you're like, how are you attracted to that? Well, here's the thing. Attraction and desire are two totally different things. What she's attracted to is not what she desires. Okay. So, Chad, with all of the options, he's probably good looking, chiseled jawline, like whatever. He's good looking to her. Okay. And that dude is so out of reach because obviously every girl wants that guy. Okay. She finds herself competing. But when she's 27, 28, and she's exiting the sexual marketplace, she can't compete with the new girls that are coming in who are like 21, 22, who are hotter than her. So she starts shifting her strategy. But you have to understand that it's a dual mating strategy. Women have this built inside of them because it's a feature. It's not a bug. It's something that, again, for whatever evolutionary purposes, I guess the female has this in her, for whatever purposes. Like I said, it's evolutionary. Okay. I mean, there's a few hypotheses that we can probably break down about that, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Okay. So generally speaking, right, when a woman is like, I guess, nearing her 30s, okay, she's going to be drawn more towards betas. Okay. Because she's trying to cash out on her sexual strategy, which is get married, have kids, and go to the promised land with the guy that she loves, right? That she's like super in love with, her soulmate, right? So when she doesn't find that man, okay, and she's about 35, let's say, okay, and she still hasn't gotten married, what happens then is she shifts her mating strategy back towards what it used to be in her party years, which was all guys are on the table. Okay. So why does this all matter? Oh, actually, before we talk about why this all should matter to you, there's something that we need to talk about when it comes to women that don't apply to what I'm talking about here. So, like I said, we can't be all autistic and think that all women are like this, okay? Whereas there's so much contextual nuance and intricacies that women and men go through that it's hard to pinpoint one blanket statement for one thing. Okay. So let's not be autistic spurgs about that. Okay. What we can do, okay, is make generalizations in our mind and then go from there. Okay. We start to what is the term I'm looking for? We start to get a little bit more suspicious, okay? And that's a good thing as a guy, right? You should be a little bit, suspicious of certain behaviors, okay? Because for one, you're picking this woman to be with you for the rest of your life. You're going to have children with her. She's going to be the mother of your kids, okay? So making sure that she's healthy in her mind, okay, psychologically, and then physically as well too, is important. So when a woman is on hormonal birth control, okay, and that's important because there's an idea that when she's on, and this is debated, okay, this is not something that is written in stone or whatever, okay, but some of the things that are involved with hormonal birth control is that women are drawn to more like beta males, like when they're on the pill, and that's because is that it alters her hormonal like makeup or whatever that goes on, and it starts to like make her more masculine. And what happens is in sexuality is that there needs to be a giver and a receiver. Okay, that's just what we call polarity. We ever put a magnet together or whatever, and you put it together. Okay, it's the opposite poles. Okay, and it's when you have two of the same poles, they go like they try to avoid each other. Okay, so polarity is a concept in sexual psychology, that there's a giver and a receiver, masculine and feminine. But when your hormonal makeup is forcing you to be more like a man, then you're going your day thinking that you're not really thinking you're a guy, but like you feel like a guy. Okay. And what that does is that when a beta male is in front of you, you're drawn to that beta male. And I'm speaking to women here. Obviously, like um, there are no women on this stream. But I'm just saying, like, you have to understand that women are this way because they're on birth control. So their mate preferences will shift. Okay. So sometimes even when, like, for example, she's in her party years, like she's 20 to 24, let's say, she's still attracted to alpha males or whatever, right? But she's on hormonal birth control. So sometimes she might not think, so what is it? Like, okay, so for example, I saw this video on TikTok, okay? There was this girl talking about how she had sex with a guy who was a little bit more soft, more round, a little bit more dad bodish, and then she had sex with a guy who was like jacked, rippled, strong, whatever. And that's clearly her telling her audience that, okay, yeah, there's alpha, there's beta, all right? She's saying she preferred the sex with the beta male because, again, I would argue that she's on hormonal birth control, because when you're on hormonal birth control, you just prefer more softer gentlemen, and their traits or whatever need to be more softer, right? More nurturing. So of course you're going to be more drawn to that, and of course you're going to tell people that that was the more better form of sex. You know what I mean? But a healthy woman who obviously like has a natural menstrual cycle, right? When she's ovulating in from like day 10 to 12 or whatever, day 10 to 15, let's say, she's super horny. She can't help herself, but she's going to be attracted to the chat. And that's who you should try to be honest, because why is because the sex behind desire versus the sex behind attraction is not the same, okay? Sex with attraction is more transactional because she's just thinking like, okay, well, I'm not really physically attracted to this guy, but I'm attracted to all the things that he does bring to the table, so let's just have sex with him. Okay, but she's not really like fully there to submit to this guy. Do you know what I mean? Not to like, oh, I'm gonna have this kid's babies. Like, she's not excited or enthusiastic about that, right? So we have to be careful when it comes to, you know, dating chicks that are on this stuff, because then, you know, if you've had a period, if you've had a past where, you know, a lot of chicks are on hormonal birth control while you're with them, then it's a chance, it's a sign that you might be acting a little bit too beta. Okay, because those chicks actually get repelled by more alpha male type dudes. Okay. But again, a lot of individual differences play. This is not me blanketing every woman. Okay, there's a lot of contextual nuances that happen, that go on behind the scenes. Okay, like culturally, socially, all these other things. Okay, like she could have a bunch of friends even that are all dating beta males, and she's just gonna go for the beta male because she wants to be like her friends. Do you get what I'm saying? Right. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that can go on behind the scenes that could force a woman to do the things that she does. Okay, not everything is her being like driven by her biology. All right, so there is variation behind that. Okay, so let's recap here. All right, so we talked a little bit about Evo Psych, we talked a little bit about Evo Bio. Okay, we talked a little bit about hormonal birth control, we talked about alpha beta, right? Those concepts. Okay. And hypergamy is basically just her making sure that her reproductive strategy wins, which is alpha fucks, beta bucks. So in a real, what is it? Perfect world for her, she would love to have Chad's babies, okay, and then have the beta male cuck, whatever, fill in and raise those kids for him while Chad leaves the mother. You know what I'm saying? Because he has other women to impregnate, right? That's just genetics. That's just biology, right? If a man has great genes and he's just, you know, what is it? Compelled to procreate and spread a seed, nothing's going to stop him. and betas will always exist, okay? And the funny thing is like, women will always be like, they'll shame the guy, they'll shame the father, right? He's a deadbeat dad or whatever because he doesn't want to stay, but they don't ever really realize, like, what if that girl was crazy and she just chased him out of the house? You know what I mean? Like, literally with a knife. Like, what if she did that? Right? Like, why are we not asking what happened with the female? Do you know what I mean? Why is it always the guy's fault that he leaves? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. So that's the ideal world, and that's why a lot of guys, right, we are jealous. Okay, we have an adaptation of jealousy, and we get mad or upset because if an intruder or somebody wants to mate with our wife, right, because then we're stuck raising the offspring if she ends up getting pregnant, right? So guys our fear is to get cucked. That's the definition of getting cucked, right? Like raising another man's child. That's not yours. Okay? And not knowing about it. That's the thing, okay? And so women, like I said, they have this thing, and I'm telling you all this because you need to be aware. So let's just say you're my age, right? Like I'm 39, okay? I'm aware of this stuff now, right? And what's amazing about being my age is that I can date women, in their 20s, but I can also date women in their 30s. And what's interesting is that you'll see this play out even more so, right? And this is why I've become so fascinated with it, is that when I'm out there dating, I can see it. I see women from 20 to 24 who act a certain way, and then 24 to about 30 that act in a different way, and then the women who are about 35 plus, they act they act in a different manner as well. And you see these things play out, okay? And I hear it as well because while I'm in the space, I do a lot of dating and relationship coaching, and because I do that, I ask a lot of people about their situations, and I hear about it, whether it's online or whatever, what have you. I hear about it. And what's interesting to me is that a lot of the things that I've been talking about for the last 5, 6 years or whatever, you see it play out with these people's lives. And they're like, how do you know? And I'm like, look, you're not the first person, right? This is not my first rodeo. I've heard this story like a million times. And so people like to think they're special and yada, 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 but they're really not. And a lot of this stuff is, pretty repetitive now. Okay. So it's important as a guy for me, if I'm dating, to see what stage she's at, right? And like, not to mention, you can kind of tell when, I don't know if I've talked about this on a stream yet, but I should probably do it. And it's about menstrual cycle and understand. I think I did. Let me see. Yeah, I think I pretty much did. But it's understanding her cycle. And when you understand her menstrual cycle, you start to, tune into her needs, right? When she's ovulating versus when she's not ovulating, or when she's PMSing, right? So all these things, like I said, are important to know when you're dating or when you're in a relationship with somebody. Okay, when you get to really know them deeply. Okay, and then you can respond accordingly, so you don't have to have her worrying. Because like, I think the biggest complaint that a lot of women make is that, like, I just want a guy that can get it. Like the last guy that I was with, he just didn't know how to take care of me. He just didn't know what to do, right? Like he just had no clue. And I get it. A lot of guys are bumbling buffoons, and that's okay, right? None of this stuff is taught in school. Not to mention, they want you stupid. Why? Because women run the world, and they want to be able to keep men under wraps and under control. Okay, so of course your girl wants you stupid and dumb as bricks. Okay, because you're easy to manipulate at that point, and that's how she feels the most powerful. Okay, but we need to swing the pendulum back. Okay, give men back their power, and we don't exercise it to the point of like physical like abuse. Okay, we can exercise our power with assertive communication. Okay, and we can dominate situations without having to use brute force. And I know that all sounds naive because I live in the West, and when you get into like the Middle East, where there's like differences of religions and opinions, and all this stuff really matters. Wars break out, and I get that. Okay, but here in the West, we're not really trying. Like, we're like, I get it, all's fair in love and war, but we shouldn't treat relationships like it's war. We shouldn't be that paranoid going in there with like a fucking like our army hats on, right? And it's just hilarious that a lot of guys are scared to go. They're just women. It's just women, y'all. They're like it. Like, a lot of guys are afraid to approach these girls, and it's like, yo, they're just girls, man. It's just women. All right, like, it's not a big thing, anyways. Um, Look, I get it. Sometimes, like, some baddies can be pretty intimidating. I get it. Okay, but beneath all that, they're just these little innocent little beings. Okay, they're like, anyways. We just have to understand them. Okay, and this is part of understanding them. All right, is like looking at the way that they see the world. And women will never do this for us. Okay, guy, like, just don't ever expect a woman to see things the way that you do, logically, rationally, and all that. Okay, because our world is not her world. And when you try to explain it to her, like with logic and ration, she's just like, what? Like, it's like in one ear and out the other. Okay, it's because their world is built on emotions. Okay, so that's the one thing that I made a big mistake is my relationships, is expecting that a woman is like me and that she's just going to understand things the way I do, and that's not the case. So we have to look at the world that she's in, right, and kind of gauge from there, and that way we're above it. Okay, it's as if we created, we created that world. I've been watching I can't remember I think it's called Ants in Canada or something like that, but basically it's this dude that made this huge vivarium. Okay, and he basically recreated um a rainforest, and he's like basically God. Okay, he's basically acting like God, and he created this vivarium, and he added different cultures like insects and whatever, and he's seeing how they interact with each other, right? So these people, like the little insects in his vivarium, will never understand his world, right? Because they can never manipulate it the way that that we can. And that's just the way that you got to kind of look at it. I'm not saying women are fucking insects and little things that we put in our man-made rainforest, but if we see the world that they live in and see how they thrive and what they eat, and like who their enemies are and how they deal with their enemies and stuff like that, then women is just like a creature, like just like that we can understand their existence just by observing. Okay, so I say all this to say this. Look, when you're out there dating and you encounter a woman, the one of the biggest things, or one of the closest things that you can get to where she's at in her life, is her age. Okay, and see where she's at in her life, and then that way you can come off the way that you need to. Okay, so, and now I get a lot of flack from my friends about how, oh, you're flip-flopping games or whatever, or you're code switching, right? That's what these like wokey left people are saying or whatever, right, these days. And it's like, no, I see what the game is, and I'm gonna play the game. Okay, and there's really, I mean, there's really no way around that. Okay, we're playing a game, but the trick to playing this game is acting like it's not really a game. This is part of you. Okay, like, this is just who you are. Why? Because look, when you take all this information and you take all this theory and you wrap your head around it a few times and you go into a scenario and you play it out, the next time around it becomes like a habit. It becomes part of you. It's not something that you had to think of on the spot and go through all the scenarios in your head. Maybe at the beginning it'll be like that, but for the most part, when you learn game and you become the game, it becomes easier to administer that game. So know the age of the girl that you're dealing with, okay? And then when she is, let's say, 25, you know she's in her epiphany phase, and you know that being a little bit too alpha Chad might turn her off. You get it? Let's say she's 35, not married, no kids, or maybe she's a single mom, right? Then you know being an alpha Chad is going to turn her on. You guys following me here? I hope this makes sense to you, okay? So, dual mating strategy, she's attracted to both, okay? Be the player or play Casanova, doesn't matter, okay? I'm not here to moralize. What I am trying to say is like, look, we're squirrels trying to get a nut, and wherever that nut is, we're going to try to get it. So, this is part of it. Sometimes we have to cross the street to go get it, sometimes we have to climb up a tree, okay? But we have to use the tools available in order to get our kill or our hunt. So, and this is another thing, as you know, when you're out, is it like, so another analogy I like to use is being a fisherman, okay? When you're out there on the lake, let's say, okay, there's a lot of different species. There's trout, there's walleye, there's bass, okay? There's all kinds of things out there, and you're going to use different baits and different presentation to grab the fish, right? Like a trout is probably more or less going to be liking certain different presentations, like flies, let's say, or whatever, right? Whereas like bass are probably looking for like more faster, like swim baits, right? And so like you can alter your strategy to whatever it is that you're fishing, okay? But you have to know what it is that you're fishing. And again, it's like using that analogy of the vivarium, right? You're in a lake, you know exactly where they are, what they eat, where they hang out, okay, all that stuff, what they survive on, what, you know, all that stuff. So a lot of dudes, they get worried because they think, oh, I'm coming off too beta or whatever, you know, and sometimes, man, like it's not a bad thing, all right? I talk about it in my book, all right, where there are situations where it's okay to be a little bit beta, all right? I know it sounds crazy, right? I always shit on all the dating coaches that, you know, call it the Build a Better Beta program. And I get it, but sometimes when we're playing the game, all right, this is how we got to be. Women are going to hate me now, all right? I just kind of outed myself, right? Like if any of my exes saw some of my past streams, they'd be like, what the fuck is this guy? All right, anyways, how many hours have I been spitballing here? Not even 42 minutes, not too bad. Okay. Just so you guys are aware, my book is created. So if you guys are just tuning into the stream now, my book is created. I'm looking for basically people who want a free copy of it and read it for themselves, okay, and get a taste of some of the stuff I talk about, because a lot of the things that I talk about is in the book, but it goes in more depth, and obviously my writing is a lot better than just me spitballing here on a live stream. Okay. So if you guys want to support, then you can also grab your own copy that I'm going to be releasing here on Amazon very shortly. Whether you want the ebook copy or the hardcover, the paperback, not the hardcover. I'm going to be ordering hardcovers for myself and for my friends. So those are special copies for friends and family, and I'm going to bring with me to events and stuff like that, or when I go on podcasts and start promoting, I'll have those for the interviewers or whatever, or whoever. But if you guys just want the paperback or the ebook and then the audiobook, I'm going to do a bundle for all three of those very soon. So follow my Instagram. I'm probably going to be letting the sale on there, but you can go put your name on the list for now. It's breakherbednotherheart.com. Okay, you can go put your name on the list to get the notifications. I'll probably do a little announcement on my Instagram, and then you guys can get your copy and support this journey. Okay, I had to go through a divorce to write this book. All right, I lost my kids for this shit. So if you're getting value out of this stuff, all right, definitely like, comment, subscribe, share this stream out with a friend. There is probably somebody who you know that could use this information. All right. And mind you, I'm handing all of this out for free. This is what people used to pay, thousands of dollars for, and they paid all kinds of money to come see me in, you know, seminars or whatever. Okay. And all that stuff. Right. And it's not cheap, but you guys are getting all this for free. So all my clients are probably like, all my ex clients are probably like, yo, what the fuck, right? But I'm doing this because, like I said, I'm trying to evolve my content. Like, for example, today I really wanted to talk about the Juice World thing, right? Like Juice World, his ex girlfriend or whatever is using him for views and shit. She's gonna release a sex tape, and this guy's dead, bro. Like, leave the man alone. Let him rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I'm talking about. How female nature can get really evil. And so, this is what I mean by I want to evolve my content. I want to be able to talk about certain things like that, have live reactions to stories that, just come out, because I think it helps people be more aware to, evil in the world, and somehow, like how some of these chicks aren't, they're just not wholesome girls. Okay. And those are the ones we got to avoid. But what's crazy is that some of these chicks are really, really hot. And so a lot of guys fall into the trap of like, oh, bro, she's a baddie. Oh, like and like, it's like, look, I get it. For dudes who have never been with a baddie, I get it. Okay. But, don't simp for these chicks. Okay. If she's a baddie and she's wholesome, all the better. Okay. But there's evil women out there that you got to be aware of. And part of it is just understanding concepts like these, okay? Because they're all like that. They all have that ability. Like, you're gonna meet a chick who you think is so wholesome and nice and whatever, but she's still thinking the same shit that every other girl is thinking, whether she's a 9 or a 10, okay, or 6. They're still thinking the same thing. I gotta have a better dude, or he has to treat me like this, or and like the sisterhood of Morales, like I said, they all fucking get together, they all band together and talk about this stuff with each other, okay? Just like how we have to come together as men and talk about this stuff too. And honestly, a lot, like, my true goal, all right, for relationships is for men and women to not play all these stupid games with each other. All right. I really hate talking about this, but the faster we can come correct, okay, and we realize our shortcomings in relationships, the better we can work on them and the faster we can correct them. All right. And I'm not talking just for us, our sake. It's for women's sake too. They are the ones struggling out there. It's not us, man. I don't know if you know about the single mommy epidemic. They call it this. They call it the deadbeat dad epidemic, but it's the single mommy epidemic right now. All right. So that's a big thing that's going on. Anyway, just be aware, guys. Okay, don't get trapped into those things either. All right. So single moms are recreational use only. Okay, but look, if you're a dad with kids, then single moms are probably your best, is probably a better bet for you, because a lot of these single chicks, not all of them, but a lot of them don't want to raise your kids. Okay, not only that, there's just going to be so much fucking tension between her and your ex-wife, right? It's just you know what I mean? And she's going to get attached, and then if you guys don't end up staying together, then she has to break up with not only you, but she has to break up with the kids, and that's kind of heartbreaking for her, right? So just think about all these things when you're out there dating. Okay, don't be stupid. Don't do things because, like, oh yeah, I just feel like getting my dick wet or whatever. Like, think about these things on a fucking heady level, okay? And then you can have fun with it, right? That's what I'm trying to do, right? Like, right now I'm in my serious mode. Like, if you guys know me, I joke around so much. I can't stop telling jokes. Sometimes people are like, when they meet me, they think I'm this serious dude, and then they can't take my humor, right? They think I'm being like sarcastic. They can't tell when I'm being sarcastic. And so I'm actually a really freaking lighthearted. I like to joke. I like to laugh. I love comedy and all that stuff. But I do have a serious side to me where I want to get this information out to guys. So anyways, just stay tuned, y'all. Okay. I do a lot of talking, and I just want to show now. All right. I just want to show people now. Okay. That I'm ready. I'm ready to come out of here, of the shell that I've been in. And it's crazy my story because it's just night and day. You know what I mean? Like before all this, if you guys had known me in my 20s, you guys would have been shocked. Let's just say, okay? You're like, wow, Rob was that guy? Damn, that's crazy, yo. And it is crazy. Maybe I'll share with you guys at some point later on, but let me just get all of this catalog out of the way, okay? As much as I possibly can. I'm not trying to get too personal with you guys on these streams because, not because I don't like y'all, it's just because I want to get the catalog over and done with. It's probably going to take me like 3-4 months, all right? We are just entering month 2, right? I started this in November. I had a couple weeks where my internet died, so I wasn't able to stream, but then I picked right back up, and I've been streaming pretty much like 2-3 times a week since then. Okay, so you guys can look back at all my previous streams, all right, and all the information I've been putting out there. So if you guys are getting value out of the channel, like I said, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, whatever, do all that stuff, and then share it out, whether you're watching on Rumble or YouTube or wherever the case may be. And then you guys can subscribe over there because I do shorts of these videos. So if you guys like miss, these long form content streams, like I get it. Like not everyone has the time to sit here and fucking listen to me talk for an hour, right? But if you guys don't want to just sit through the whole thing and you want to catch some of the shorts and some of the quick little tidbits I shoot out here and there, then you can follow the reels on the YouTube, or sorry, reels on Instagram, or shorts on YouTube, whichever where you prefer. So and that's it, y'all. If you guys want to get a free copy of the book that I have, hit me up. I got you. All right, I'm only going to accept maybe like 10 to 15 guys. All right, and I think I have about 4 or 5 guys already lined up. I have to just double check my DMs right now. And then we're going to all get into pretty much a Facebook group together. Okay. So if you guys want to meet some new people, it'll be kind of cool too. Maybe you guys are already like thinking about jumping out into internet land and doing kinds of things, doing this kind of stuff. So I'm also doing a side hustle Saturday, I guess, variety show in addition to everything that I'm streaming here. So Side Hustle Saturdays is just a concept that I got from another YouTube creator who took $500 and he's trying to grow his channel to about $1 million. And I was just fascinated with his channel and his idea, and I thought that it would be a good idea to start that over here and show you guys what we can do with $500 and see what we can do as a side hustle. So mind you, I started this thing as a side hustle. So before I went full-time into coaching, I was just driving a regular forklift in Rona. I don't know if you guys know what Rona is, but basically it is it's like Home Depot or a Lowe's or whatever. But I worked at the direct delivery center in Toronto. So it was like not the store. It was, their commercial building and a lumber yard. And so I was, working in all kinds of inclement weather, rain or shine. It was insane. Okay. And I was doing this as a side hustle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that $500. I've kind of already spent some of it. I've recorded a little bit of this already, but spoiler alert for you guys are already watching this stream right now. Spoiler alert. Okay. I'm going to take that $500 and we're going to put it into becoming an author. How to self-publish on Kindle publishing, and who to hire, what steps do we got to look for, right? Because some of you guys might think like, okay, man, I want to start some shit on the internet, all right? But starting some shit on the internet you just don't start, okay? You need to start understanding like business acumen and like, branding and strategy and all this stuff, right? And the thing about branding is that you can't just go out there and say, hey, I'm da 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 da, right? Like think about if I was working at Rona or whatever and I was telling people like, yeah, hey, I'm a dating and lifestyle coach, right? People would be like, what the fuck? So my mentor, obviously, okay, I wouldn't have done this without him. He taught me a lot about branding and how to, get your name out there before, how to get your name out there into the universe before you go and start doing shit. And part of that, okay, is writing a book, okay, and becoming branded in the topic that you are an expert in. And I was never an expert in relationships. I was just going through my divorce, and I was writing some notes down, and I just stumbled upon this thing, okay? And it's crazy because um like I said, I was in a job that had no bearing on what I'm doing now. So I wrote a book back then about relationships, and now everybody thinks I'm a relationship and dating guru now. Okay, all because of that one book. All right, and so branding is in the spiritual world. You have to understand that branding is about what people think about you. Okay, it's not about what you tell them that you are. It's about what people voluntarily think about you. So if you are promoting yourself as a dating and relationship coach, and you're telling everybody that you did all this stuff, and they don't voluntarily believe that that's what you are, then they're never going to trust your brand. But let's just say you went out there professionally, you wrote a book. You wrote a book on the thing that you say that you are an expert in. You are now a published author. In their eyes, they're now thinking like, wow, holy shit, this guy fucking wrote a book. Not many people can say that. Not many people are authors. All right. So what happens is you elevate yourself to now being a little bit seen. Okay. So now you are in the sea of sameness. Now you are just above that, and you're poking your head above that, and people are starting to see you a little bit. They kind of see your hat poking out, and they're like, hey, who's that guy? And you're like peeking over the water with your book out, and you're like, hey, it's me, right? So you're just surfacing at that point when you write your book. Okay. So Side Hustle Saturdays I'm gonna show you guys how you can take $500, okay, turn it into a book, put it on Amazon. All right, start making some sales, start changing, the atmosphere around you, so that people start to be like, oh shit, so and so wrote a book, I wonder what he wrote about. And then they go and see, oh shit, he wrote about such and such. Okay, is he some expert in this field or whatever? And so now they're voluntarily thinking these things about you, not with you having to do anything. Okay, you just said, hey, I wrote a book on this topic. And now they're thinking, what, is he an expert on this now? Right? So that's the thing about branding, okay, is like having people voluntarily think that that's what you are, okay, without you having to do so. All right. And you can do this in any field. You could be a realtor and write a book. You could be a janitor and write a book. It doesn't really matter. Okay. The point is, writing a book definitely brands you and it cements you in the field or the category or whatever that you want, or the niche or whatever that you want to, lay some of your groundwork in. Okay. This also works for just regular businesses too. Okay. Like you could be, a chef, and you want to write a book about how to become a chef, right? So those kinds of things also work. So anyways, the point is, like I said, I'm going to try to grow that $500 into whatever. We'll see. And I'll be completely transparent with all of everything that goes on behind the scenes. Okay. And we'll try to go up from there. All right. And that's pretty much all I have for this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Rewind back and just go back and try to understand some of these concepts, because it's important when you go out there, man. I'm telling you, all right. You don't want to get finessed by these chicks, all right. You think that one girl is like acting all fucking whatever, like she's into you and shit, and then you're just getting played. Okay, so don't let that happen to you. All right. Take these concepts into consideration. Don't let them be the be all end all. Don't take my word for it. Don't think I'm some, mega guru or whatever. Just know that, I'm just a mere mortal, just like you. And I've been trying to figure this information out for myself as well, because, like I said, I'm in it just as much as you guys are. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Once the book is out and ready to be published on Amazon, then we're going to build a community. Okay, so Base Nation, where you're watching here on Rumble, we're going to be building this community out so that guys can come together. We can share stories, we can share wins, We can go through struggles, whatever the case may be. But we're just trying to level up together, okay? And you can get all of that if you support the book, okay? So you can buy the book, the paperback version with the audiobook version and your ebook, okay? So if you want to read it on your phone, or if you want the actual copy, or if you want to just listen to it in your car or while you're at the gym, all the merrier, okay? So if you want to get a free copy of it and not wait till that, then I have a book club open for the next month, okay? We're going to read the book together, and then we're going to get some of your feedback, and hopefully I can get some of your reviews there on Amazon as well, so and build it up before we actually launch the book. All right, so if you guys want a free copy of the book, hit me up. All right, I'll give you guys that in your email, and then all I ask is you actually do read it with us. You come into the group with us and make a review. That's it. That's all I ask. Okay. I put my life and soul into this book. So, yeah. Anyways, now it'll free me up to write the next book, which is probably going to be for women. I know, crazy, right? But I'm probably going to write that book for women because a lot of them do still approach me and ask me like why I don't coach women. But it's because I'm not a sellout, all right? I'm in this for the boys. I've been doing this for the boys for this long, and I'm not going to stop, all right? And I know all the money's where I know the money's where the money's at, and it's with the women. Okay, for this stuff, men don't really pay for personal development, right? They think, oh, I'll figure it out on my own, or I'll just like, you know, MacGyver my way. But listen, don't be that guy where something bad happens to you, then you come find this shit. Okay, just do this so that when the bad shit does happen to you, you're prepared. All right. Your reaction is different. Okay. So build yourself up first and then go through shit, and it won't affect you as much. All right. But if you don't build yourself up and you go through shit, man, I hate to say it, but you know what I mean? You're going to be looking at the end of a barrel of a gun. So don't let that be you. Okay. Anyways, where am I at? An hour. Okay. I'm going to end the stream here. Robb Based signing off. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace.